Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hammer Podcast. Today is May 4th, 2021. I guess as I've been hearing all day today, may the 4th be with you. I've been hearing that all day today. May the 4th be with you. Today we're going to be talking with Brad. Brad went to the Cross Creek in Utah. Utah, correct? I don't think there's another one.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
Lubbock in Utah, yep.
Yes. And Cross Creek, I believe, is part of the WASP program. So, yes. And for anybody that doesn't know, WASP means Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs.
Yep.
So we're going to hand it over to you, Brad, and tell us your story. And
yeah,
first off, before you start, what years were you there?
I actually attended. I started about the end of 2007, left about the beginning of 2009, and was transferred to another program called Distant Drums as well. So that was but I'll get into that too later.
All right, sure.
But yeah,
go ahead and start. It's all yours. The floor's yours.
Yeah, man. So growing up, I just like a lot of people that went to Cross Creek, had kind of like a troubled, youth, and it wasn't nothing serious. I was pretty much just getting in trouble in school. Had bad grades and got kicked out a lot. I wasn't really joining any gangs or doing drugs. Hell, I didn't even smoke weed. It was a really just authority problem. I had a major authority problem. Did not like listening to teachers or principals. Nothing. Like it was just kind of did my own thing, And I had a big anger issue as well. Because if they tell me to do something, I just get fights with the teachers and I just lose my temper, run away from school, flip desks or all that stuff. And I remember my parents were getting so tired of having to come get me because we lived 45 minutes from my school. Like it was a long drive. We were out in the middle of nowhere in Arizona at the time. And I remember coming home and they had this little pamphlet out. My grandma, my mom, my dad were all sitting and they started talking to me and they said, you've had we want something better for you. We can't keep having you do this. And there's a lot of stories about people, getting woken up in the middle of the night and taken by transporters and all that.
Right.
That didn't happen for me. And in fact, I was excited for it. I was ready. I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. It sounded fun, it's like, all right, let's go to this, what I thought was like a boarding school / camp. Maybe it will help. Maybe it's a different learning environment. Maybe, I was trying to think positive with it.
Right.
And we decided, okay, let's do it. So my mom, I think my mom wasn't there. Yeah. So it was my mom, my dad, and we all packed up the car, went up to Utah, and we pull in and I see this place, it was a real nice looking place, white building, kind of looked like a hotel, which ironically they just converted it to a hotel. It was just, it just looked like just a normal, kind of school place. And, we go into this building and I remember this one lady, I honestly don't remember her name. I think it was Sherry or something like that. I don't, anyway.
Yeah.
She comes in, she introduces herself to my family and I, and we're talking and she gives me this like dead look and she looks me straight in the face. And at the time I had like a necklace on, I had my ear pierced and she looked mean at it. Like she had this weird change in tune from all happy and nice to, okay, now we're going to need you to take off your necklace, take out the earrings, take out the shoelaces of your shoes, and you're gonna have to come with us. And then it didn't get fun no more. Now it was like, okay.
Sounds like jail.
They had like two other. Yeah, and I thought I was like, man, this don't sound good at all. So I was like, all right, wasn't gonna fight them. And they did have two, staffers there, like some big brawly guys, and I was like, all right. So I took it all. They took off everything and gave me like a new set of clothes. They had um, I can't remember if I had the yellow shirt or the orange shirt that was actually kind of like this for the first shirt, but they gave me that. They made me give them all my stuff, and they put it in the trash bag and put it in the storage closet. And they took me upstairs. They made me shower and change the new clothes, and then they introduced me to my staff buddy, who was named Paul, if I remember correctly. And he was a cool kid. He seemed nice, and at that time, I was like, okay, he's showing me the ropes of everything and how everything works, how the rules are, and I was slowly getting adjusted to it all. um, but the rules were like really strict, like nothing that I was used to. You see, I was a talker. Like I was 13 years old at the time, mind you.
Okay.
And being a just teenager trying to make friends, it's hard. So when you go to the new place and you want to make friends,
You make
come to
conversation.
find out,
Yeah.
exactly, you weren't allowed to talk to nobody unless they had a certain color shirt. You were not allowed to talk to anybody with the same color shirt as you. I think you were only allowed to talk to like the shirt and tie kids. I think the teal, which was like a sky blue shirt. But anybody with like orange shirt or lower, you weren't allowed to talk to. And I didn't like that too much, only because they seemed to like, it seems like almost everybody was in one of these, and they seemed to put us all with the orange shirts in the same room and stuff, except one person who was like, that's been at the program forever. And it was it was an eye opener for me that, okay, this is something serious. And what really bugged me is the first day I met my counselor. He introduced himself. We went into like a room and talked, and he told me how long I was going to be there, and that's when things really settled in. Like I wasn't expecting to be here as long as I was going to be, and there's been kids that's been there longer, 4 or 5 years, and
Wow.
he was telling me like a year. Yeah, and I wasn't allowed to talk to my parents. I was only allowed to write. They didn't really have any good books to read, like no entertainment except for TV night or movie night. They
And of course the TV night. You weren't watching action flicks or anything like that. It was basically
no, it was all
kids shows.
self help. Yeah,
Self-help.
it was all like self. Yeah, well, like it was. I don't know. I wouldn't say self help per se. Like they had like, I remember watching like the Green Mile in there. The like
Okay.
inspirational type positive stuff. Yeah,
Right.
and the books. That was the only type of the books you can read was self help. And actually I kind of like those. So settling in this new environment, kind of scared, and then the rules, and of course my 13-year-old teenager,
Persona.
talkative way. I exactly, yeah. I would end up trying to talk to somebody, and like people give me that look, and like staff would see me and they'd write me up, and little things. If you didn't ask to use the restroom, you get written up. If you went somewhere without being told, you get written up. And you wouldn't think at first it's that serious. And being new, I was still trying to adjust to all the rules there. And after I think a week or two, and it could have been longer, you went to what's called I'm not going to put his first name, but his last name was a Garrett meeting. Okay. And basically in this meeting, he was like the director of this place. He was the head honcho, or as some people that's been to prison, a warden. He was the guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So you would have to ask him if you can move up a shirt, if you've been good enough, and I thought after a month, I've had my write-ups here and there, little things. I thought I'd be allowed to. And I remember we all went to this meeting, and he made the new guys sit crisscross applesauce on the floor, and everybody in the shirt and tie on the chairs. And he would talk stories about people, and he was very degrading. He would always find ways to put you down. He would always like if somebody was struggling with something like mental health, whatever. They would always tell you, well, you're a victim, or they would even go as far as punishing you for complaining about your mental health. Like I seen this one kid just he was just having this like episode where he was sad and crying and like just going crazy. And I'm not talking about like punching or screaming. He was just something was going on with him that was really hurting him. And
Okay.
Mr. Garrett sent him to the I guess you could say solitary. It was like the size of a normal closet.
Okay.
It was just this empty room with a hardwood floor. Sent him there, and we'll get more into that later with that part. But and I was like, why do you punish him? And then finally, Mr. Garrett asks and says, all right, anything we need to deal with today? Any there's a term he called it, but like asking if anybody wants to request to move up a shirt. So I raised my hand. He looks at me, he laughs at me, tells me, put your hand down and turn around. Like, what? What do you mean? And he's like, put your hand down and turn around. Oh, okay. And I put my hand down, but I didn't turn around. I'm just looking at him like kind of baffled, and he's all like, you heard me. Now turn around. And like the two staffers just kind of come in and start looking. And I guess I didn't do it fast enough. And of course, Mr. Garrett says, all right, take him away. And this is the first time after being there for a couple of weeks or a month, like I said, the time's a little bit different. I forgot how long it was that we were allowed to ask, but this is the first time anything this serious happened because most of my punishments have been write-ups. And I remember one of the guys, and he was bigger than I am now. Like, I'm 6 foot, 230 pounds. This dude must have been 6 foot, like almost 300. Like he was a big burly dude, right? Comes in, grabs me by the back of my neck and takes me to the same room that kid got sent to. And I'm scared at this point. I start screaming and yelling and fighting because what did I do? Like, and that's all I kept asking. What did I do? What did I do? And I tried fighting him right there, like trying to wrestle out. And, at that time I was probably like 130 pounds, scrawny kid, and it wasn't going to work. So they ended up taking me down, putting my hand, like pulling my arm to my back. And they forced me up and then put me in that room. And that first night, I will never get out of my head. I'll never forget. I'm crying, I'm screaming, and they laid me on my stomach, and they sat on my back. And me being that little of a kid at that time, sorry,
that's all right. That's all right. So it was one of the 300-pound guys that did that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. Take your time.
He laid me on my stomach, and they just sat on me, and they held me down like a chokehold deal. And it got to the point where I couldn't fight no more, and I just stopped, and they got up off me and they kept me there. I think it was from like 4:00 in the afternoon to like 10:00 at night, and it didn't end there. They took me out and took me to this place called worksheets. Like we had to listen to these tapes, and there were like these foreign tapes about books, but it wasn't like they were telling stories. They were it was about just the author and all that stuff, and we had to fill out the answers on it and stuff. And like that gentleman you interviewed, he got to the point after a while, I ended up remembering all the tests and the answers as well. And, but yeah, so we did that for a little while. After the test, or after they put me into the to take the test. I think I was there until about 11, and then they sent me to my dorm. And I remember, 6 o'clock in the morning, we'd wake up, we'd go to our breakfast, we'd we have to go do our chores and then go to school. And the school was I don't think it was accredited, because when I did get out of there eventually, they couldn't be found. So that really messed me up for future schooling. But the teacher in there, we'll just call him Mr. Bruce. You think he, like, talking to him, you thought at the time he was like a really nice guy, real gentle, gentle guy. And then I start thinking about it at the time, about like he would always, have me come over there to him, and like he'd put his arms around my waist and, kind of pull me in. And I didn't think anything of it at the time, because I just thought it was nice. And then now that I think about it, I'm like, something's off. Like, something was off about this guy completely, because he was just good.
No, anybody that does that, I mean, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Not normal. I mean, that's no. That's
and
something. He was thinking something. Yeah.
Yeah, and that happened my entire stay. Like, he always just did that to me. And for some reason, me not knowing those kind of people or how that was, or just maybe not knowing enough about that kind of thing. I thought he was just being nice, and I don't know. But basically, for the next 2.5 months, it was me doing the same routine of waking up, going to school, and then going to those worksheet classes for the rest of the night. We didn't really get like the movie nights and stuff, all because of this one incident.
Right.
And now it was at the point where if I would talk or break any type of rule at all, anything little, minuscule, it would be same old thing. They would put me in that closet. I'd get all mad, keep fighting, because I just don't like people touch me like that, like where, and
manhandling
thing. These guys sitting. Yeah, exactly. And it just went on and on. I don't think there was ever a point where I ever excelled. In fact, I was, this is going to sound kind of gross, but I was like messing with my nose. And I ended up picking my nose and stuff while I was in that room. And the guy said that I was trying to kill myself. And they put me on suicide watch. And now what suicide watch is, where they put you in like I don't know if I have, like, what a safety vest yellow, like,
right.
Yeah. So they put me on suicide watch. And now it was a point where, that every night when I went to my dorm, they had somebody sitting at my door watching me while I sleep. And I think they put me with another person in there that was on suicide watch as well. And I wish I could find this kid to this day, because the kid went 30 days starving himself, and they put a tube down his throat to feed him. Yeah. But me and him became, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You
me and him
became good friends.
We became good friends, and, we weren't allowed to talk to each other, but we still did, because at this point, the whole program is like not working for us. We're going against it. And, we'd secretly just talk and be late at night and we'd send messages and stuff somehow. And, you find a way to get around, sneak things,
Sure.
And, I actually made him eat one time. I snuck him, I think it was, every other Saturday or whatever the weekend was, they have us all, the entire group, go outside, and they'd have like these giant student teacher meetings. And I remember they'd give, even if you're on staff, if you're on suicide watch or you're in trouble, you still got like the grandma cookies, whatever, the 2-packs. And I would get mine. I'd take one, I'd hide it. And then as soon as I get back to the dorm, I'd slip it, under his pillow and go to bed. And I'd see him in the middle of the night eating it and stuff, and just little things. And we'd always be laughing, and we just completely just did not care anymore. But going further down, you guys have to forgive me on the time frame for this, but we did have to go to what they called seminars. They had orientation, discovery, focus, and forgot the other ones. And these seminars, they were brainwashing. Like, you go in there and you think, oh, this is kind of cool, because as soon as you walk in, you hear like this dun dun, like that music, where it's like dun 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 dun, and like these instructors come out, yeah, and they kind of get into your feels, and they make you do all these like really crazy deep activities that have to go to your past to like.
Kind of like a regressive therapy, kind of like that.
Yeah, and it got intense, man. Like, it got so intense that there were some kids, like they were getting hurt and sick because they were dehydrated. They didn't let us drink water, or use the restroom and stuff. And this was like a long process. And there were some kids that went there and just faked it till they made it through the program, and they got to a point where they just get brainwashed, and they try to tell you just need to follow the rules. You just need to do this. You need to do that. But they don't see the kind of mental abuse that these people do. I mean, there's a lot of bullying that happens with staff and students. There's a lot of abuse that happens, especially what I've heard like on the girl side. I just know physical abuse. It happened a lot on the boy side, especially with me. And yeah,
I'm sure sexual abuse happened on the girls' side.
Oh man, like there were so many stories that you hear, and and growing up, and like seeing Cross Creek randomly on my Facebook feed. I'm like, what? Like, this was happening, because my parents are spending a ton of money for this place, and they we're like, you're expecting good results for the amount of money you're spending. You're expecting something professional and something that's actually going to help you. But then you hear stories like that.
Yeah.
And
was that was Cross Creek both boys and girls? You were just in separate buildings?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, there was, and they actually had another building where they basically they had like a playground or a basketball park, kind of like big pavement lot, and it split down the middle. There was the girls' side and the boys' side.
Okay.
And then you had the girls' dorms, boys' dorms, and then they had another property. I don't know where it was, but that was also dorms where they sent the kids to sleep, and then they bus them back for the schooling and food and all that. So yeah, it was all in one. They were all one property, and you weren't allowed to go over there. You weren't allowed to go, near that fence. You weren't allowed to try to talk to the girls or communicate with them. Only time you could actually like meet with the girls was like in the seminars and stuff, which is interesting. But good.
It's kind of funny that they don't let you see the girls. I mean, I guess they just want to keep them for themselves. Because usually,
that's weird, right? Yeah,
yeah. Don't be looking at that girl. That's the girl I'm looking at. Don't look at her. Yeah, that's how it is, man.
Yeah, no, it's
a bunch of dirty old men.
It's pretty messed up.
I mean, this whole thing you're telling me, it sounds almost identical to some of these IFB, Independent Fundamental Baptist homes. Almost identical. The only thing is, instead of having a seminar, they would have church. Basically, as far as shirt colors, throwing people in rooms, beating them, sitting on them, exact same thing. Same thing. It's weird.
I wish I could tell you more of the seminars, but because it happened so long ago,
that's fine.
I kind of did try to forget about a lot of that. I do have all my folders, like my binders and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty messed up, to be honest. and I don't think anybody there was certified to be on, like the counselors and stuff.
Right.
Because the counselor, I'm just gonna call him Mr. J. His he was, he'd call me in for counseling maybe once a month, right? And I thought this place was supposed to be here to help me. I thought I was supposed to be able to go to talk to people. And in the place that isolates you so much from talking to your parents, talking to friends, talking to other students there, you need someone to talk to about some issues that you might be having or something going on. But basically, anytime you want to try to go talk to a counselor, they look at you as a nuisance because they don't want to hear about your problems. They would, and they would tell your parents that, well, don't listen to anything that they say to them in a letter. They're just trying to manipulate you to get them out. And I tried telling my parents, I tried telling my parents about what they did, and what they would do is they read your letters first.
Then they black it out.
Something bad. Yeah.
Or they would make you rewrite it or something like that.
I've never had to rewrite it, but some letters I don't think even got to my parents, to be honest with you. Because my parents would send me something back, and
did they kind of figure out that something was going on? Any red flags? Like,
no.
They won't allow my son to call me or anything, and nothing, huh?
My mom and dad owned a restaurant in Arizona. They had for 30 years, and they just sold it right before all this stuff happened. Today, perfect timing. But they were pretty focused on that. I don't think they really cared, to be honest with you. They thought I was really helping it. It wasn't until probably 2-3 years ago when I started showing them all the news articles and stuff about the place that they said, "We're so sorry. We did not know this was happening."
Yeah.
And
some parents, and I've told this to a lot of other survivors. We're parents. You're a parent. I'm a parent. We make mistakes. Sometimes really big mistakes.
Yeah.
and
yeah.
all you can say is, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I was either ignorant at the time. I had no idea what was going on. Just please forgive me. And that's all you can do. And some people will not accept that. And that's sad.
Yeah.
Because a lot of families, especially from these troubled teen homes, say they're never the same afterwards. Sometimes the parents kick the kid out, or they don't talk to each other. They divide families a lot.
Yeah. The irony is me and my parents are really close. I love my parents to death.
That's good.
And there was one good thing that came out of all that, and that was getting kicked out and sent to a different program. And I'll talk to you all about that in a minute. But
and I think you would be the first one to ever have death by nose picking. I can't believe that they thought you were going to commit suicide by picking your nose.
Man. Like, I don't know what the heck was up, but I think the dude was just in a bad mood, and
you would be the first.
I don't know. They wanted the reason. Yeah, it was really wild, but yeah. So back to the counselor thing, though. I think I was about 6 months in, and the counselor, I think, got me put on medicine finally. Then they got me diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, and bipolar. And my parents kind of already knew, and like at that time, ADD and ADHD and the whole was always like to people was an excuse per se, like for bad parenting or bad kids, and
Right.
And I think once I got out, I actually went to a real therapist and psychologist, I think. And yeah, they actually, and to this day, I still am diagnosed with that. Like, I don't take no medicine or nothing like that. So, yeah.
Some people can cope with it without medication. Some can't. It just depends on the severity, I'm sure.
Yeah. So like, I'm very, like with my ADD and ADHD gets to me most because, I kind of zone out a lot, and obviously I lose track of things. But I felt like after that 6 months when they couldn't really get me anywhere, that I felt kind of kind of like they were going to try to just dope me up and just keep me drugged, and they just had that control over me. But I think it wasn't until later on that around late 2008, being another kid named Sean, we get sent out to that same room that I met that lady in, where they took all my stuff, and I see these two big guys, and they say, "You're going to be coming with us." And I thought they were cops, to be honest with you. With everything that happened throughout that time at Cross Creek, I thought, did I break a law? Am I going to jail now? Like, is something going to happen to me? And then I see this one, like, why would he be going to jail? Like, I'm thinking to myself, because this kid next to me, Sean, he was like a really scrawny, little wormly kid. And he got just as much trouble as me for like literally the littlest of stuff, the same thing. And I felt so bad for this kid, because he would always get picked on by this one guy. We'll just call him Dallas. And I think just because I was scrawny or different he was, like that, Dallas would just mess with them and just kind of tear them down, and that's what that place does, man. They'll try to tear you down, brainwash you, and turn you into a robot and turn you into their own, personal success story. But it's actually kind of separating you from society.
They could take away your self-esteem. They degrade you. They demean you.
Oh yeah.
And usually, kids like that are easier to control. Some, not so much. But most of them, once you take away their self-esteem, their self-worth, you can control them pretty easily.
Yeah.
And usually through fear.
Yeah.
Through fear.
And that's what it was. Oh yeah. And speaking of fear, man, they would always threaten me with Jamaica, with Tranquility Bay.
Oh.
That was the biggest threat that always happened at Cross Creek, was Tranquility Bay. If you don't straighten up, we're going to strip you away. And that day when those two guys came in, with the handcuffs and all, I thought that was the day I was going. Come to find out, they were sending me to another program, but it wasn't as bad as Cross Creek. In fact, to this day, I remember it as the most positive, best experience of my life, and I will never forget it. I can never find anything on it no more. I tried to look it up, but I think it got shut down because a kid died at this program. But it's called Distant Drums Program. And I think it was in Nephi, Utah. Now, Distant Drums wasn't like a lot of these wilderness track programs that you hear about that are probably terrible and whatnot. This one was actually, to me, in my personal experience, was really good. The transporters came. They told us, well, here's what's going to happen. We're going to take you guys. Whether you're going to come peacefully or not is up to you. You guys get in the car. We won't put handcuffs on you. That's it. Take me away. Get me the hell out of here, And I was ready to go, man. I didn't even care. And they didn't tell us where we were going. They did not. I honestly thought I was going to be Jamaica at that time. But, and Sean did the same thing. We both got in. The transporters actually took us to Burger King. And, oh, my gosh, after almost a year of not having no real good, like, fast food or any type of food.
Now, on that note,
that was
Brad,
the best bite of Burger King ever.
On that note, before we go any further, how was the food over there at Cross Creek? Was it just slop? Was it garbage?
No, honestly, it wasn't too bad. Like, I mean, it's your basic, like, hospital food, your basic cafeteria food. It wasn't terrible. And now, honestly, I'll give credit where credit's due. On birthdays, except mine, because I was just so bad. They bought the birthday boy birthday cakes, like, for the whole class to share.
Right.
And or the whole group, because we were all separating like individual groups, And I think I was in group 8 or group 7. It's been so long, I forgot that. But and the birthday kid got the corner piece, because the corner piece is always the best piece. But
Yeah.
So yeah, and they were the real cakes, not the ones with that little whipped icing. It was like the real frosting. So it was really good, and you cherish little stuff like that.
All right.
Now,
as far as I'm trying to I'm asking these questions because I want to try and see what the difference between Distant Drums and Cross Creek Manor.
Okay.
As far as your room, was it a dorm where a whole bunch of guys on
Hmm.
bunk beds all in one area,
Uh,
or were they just individual rooms?
okay. So the dorms, there were it was one dorm with four boys. You know, two bunk beds. You had like this little closet space with your own little cubby and stuff. And I think they actually had a bathroom. I think they did have a bathroom in mine. I don't remember if all. Yeah, they all had a bathroom too, as well. Or did
Okay.
they? Sorry, that one I don't recall too much on. I think mine had a bathroom because I there might have been ones where they didn't and stuff. But anyway,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So fast forwarding, you
Mhm.
get to Burger King and you have a complete feast.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. They bought it, man. They said whatever you want, man. And me and Sean were over there like yes,
I'll
yes.
take I'll take the
The
double
double
cheeseburger.
yes, the double bacon cheeseburger, and it was actually one of the most happiest times of my life being there. Just with that, and
It's
just
amazing
with
how
that little
it's amazing how food can just, what it
yeah.
does to people.
Oh yeah, and I it was about like a 3 hour drive up to Nephi, and then we ended up pulling in like this little like warehouse deal and going in, getting introduced to these people. I'm like, okay, this ain't an airport. I ain't going to Jamaica. We're good. A little bit better now, and um, so they take us in. They talk about the program, the rules, and what's going to be happening, and they give us a backpack with all of our all of our stuff. Yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Sorry.
um, sorry, girlfriend. But they give us like a backpack and some like hiking shoes and a couple pairs of socks, some hiking clothes, and they everything you would need to survive in the wilderness. And this one guy, big burly dude with like a beard, and real cool gentleman.
Grizzly
Uh,
Adams kind of guy, huh?
exactly, yeah. He comes out. He says, "All right, we hop in this old Ford truck and drive all the way out to this desert, and I think we get out there like 9 or 10 at night, and the campsite's sleeping and stuff. They say, all right, set up here, and so we lay out our sleeping bag, get in the sleep, get in." And Sean, we're just kind of like chilling with each other because we rolled in. So like now it's a friendship developed here, and it's like, all right, what's gonna happen tomorrow? Because we had no idea what this was, and we just passed out. Next day, woke up, and then the journey began there. So, and the first day that we were out there, Sean, while we were doing, because we had this school out there, like they still had some form of schooling. While me and Sean were writing some stuff down, Sean had a rattlesnake roll right
Oh,
over his foot. Yeah, that was the wildest thing ever. But that
it,
that place was,
this is Utah, right? Nehi,
yeah, this is
what is
Utah.
it?
Yeah. Nephi,
Nephi.
Ne-
Okay,
Nephi, Utah. Yeah,
Nephi, Utah. Okay, go
yeah.
ahead.
And this place was really great in my because like you'd hike 12 miles a day. They had like a lot of like Indian type or Native American type rituals, like not like a cult or anything, but you get like your own name. Like I was a white woodchuck because I got scared by one of the staff members that was dressed up and weird and started running at us in the dark, and I got hella scared and ran. You would have to go do like these certain tasks, like go out solo for a night, basically, where after you've been there for a certain amount of time, like for a month or 2 or 3, you would they would literally take you out about a mile or two and leave you out there by yourself, and they would you would have to build your own fort. We didn't have tents. We had to create our own shelter. We did have our own food. Um, we made our own fires with spin drill or bow drill. And if you did like the hand drill, not spin drill, hand drill, like we did like this, they give you
Yeah,
like a pound of M&Ms. And everything was a barter system out there. So that pound of M&Ms, you're a millionaire.
yeah.
Um, and
Pound. Wow.
a pound, dude, like those big giant bags of M&Ms. Yeah. Um, and they gave us beads like for necklaces and stuff, and that was also like a currency. Like there was so much little stuff that we used to trade, like for clothing, or if you found a dead carcass out in the desert, you could take like the bone from I forgot what bone it was, from like it's like the near the foot of the cow or whatever,
Mhm.
and you can use it as a top rock for your bow drill. You can trade that. Like there's take the dead horse hair, like so much weird. I know it sounds crazy, but just so much extra stuff with that, and that went on for a good while. That was a good experience, and I only got in trouble like once or twice, but it wasn't nothing where I got tackled
Right.
or abused, or it was just a spiritual thing. It's just very very
Well, hiking
positive.
12 miles a day, that'll get you into shape.
Oh yeah, and it did. They gave us a big thing of water that we had to drink. I think we had to drink two of them because I think that's kind of the reason why the school is shut down now is because they actually had a student die there previously before I got there, and then after I left, they had another one. I think got shut down in 2012 ish or so. I've been looking all over, haven't found no information on them too much. So
Hmm.
yeah, they don't have the same type of allegations or cruelty that Cross Creek had. So
Right. Yeah, but out there, you got to keep yourself hydrated. You have to, 'cause that's
yeah, yeah, and this was during the spring, like end of winter, beginning of spring. So the weather was actually pretty decent. And Utah does get cold, although at nighttime chilly, but yeah.
well.
but
It seemed a lot better than Cross Creek Manor. I'll tell you that.
yeah, and that's a sad thing, man. Like I watch a lot of other people's videos and testimonials from Cross Creek, and I read a lot of blogs and even in a Facebook group about it. And I see the horrors that people went through, and like the people actually got woken up in the middle of the night and grabbed by these guys and taken to these places, and and I'm thinking, wow, like how was I so dumb to be waking up ready to go to this place, ready to try to better myself and excited. And I think at the time in my head I was like, oh, it's just a camp. It's just it's like a club, or I'm just getting out of my school to go to a new school. I
Right.
can build a new personality. I could be somebody different.
Sure.
So
Hmm.
it
But little did you know.
little did I know that it would end. And to this day, like from having those guys doing what they did, my back to this day, I get pains. Like, and that didn't happen until after I left there. Um, like, and I just get, I think about it, and I don't
These.
want to say I have PTSD. Like
Yeah.
it just, but it does pop up in my head
Sure.
randomly, like just everything that happens. And
Flashbacks, that kind of stuff. Sure. It
yeah,
does happen.
yeah, there's certain things that just kind of trigger me,
And
So yeah,
and little do these idiots know that when you are hurting people like that, especially when they're young kids, that can have a dramatic effect on their health when they become adults. You're beating them,
yeah,
you're sitting on them, you're hurting them. That could go into adulthood, and people have chronic problems, health
pain,
problems, because
yeah,
of that kind of stuff. You know,
yeah, yeah. And I remember and it wouldn't be just sitting, man. They'd put their knees in your back. They would hit you pressure points all
pressure
the time,
points.
dude.
Yeah,
And oh, the worst. But the worst one is when they just grab your arm and just like twist it backwards. Like you feel like your whole arm socket's just popping out of place at that time, and they wonder why I was so angry, why I try to fight them every time they want to send me back there. Of course, I know what's going to happen back there. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, let's just go sit in a cold ass room where you're not allowed to use the restroom, uh, and and what, like just stay here for hours until you tire me out, until you wear me out to the point where I pass out, and they'll keep you in there for hours, and until I think the latest I was 2, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning.
did they
I
at
was in
least
there.
have a bucket or something you could piss and shit in? Anything?
um,
Not sure.
yeah, I think no, they did have a bathroom.
But you could only use it unless you couldn't use it unless they told you to. You know.
Exactly. Uh, there's just something there I just don't really want to talk about. So on
Okay.
that part,
All right.
uh,
Sure.
yeah, that one's kind of degrading. But um, yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
Problem is, like you said, a lot of these counselors, staff members, don't have any type of experience. They don't have any type of training. No degree.
No sir,
You know, it could
no
be
certification.
it could
Yeah,
be just
nothing.
could be somebody's relative, could be a brother or a cousin or a best friend. Hey, we're looking for somebody. Come on in.
That's actually what it was. Vice News put out a little documentary about Cross Creek, and talking about one of the staff was talking about how he found the job was a basic ad in the newspaper, and they didn't need no qualifications whatsoever,
No experience
nothing,
needed. Yeah.
no experience needed, and they were getting paid like I think at that time like 11 or 12 an hour, maybe more than that, which was a lot of money then.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense because like the guy Dallas I was telling you all about, dude comes in smelling like cigarettes and just looked like a tweaker, to be honest with you. Like he was just a weird guy, man. And of course then the teacher and then the school not being actually credited and a lot of sketchiness going on. But they promote it as, oh well, this is a friendly, safe environment to help your child that's in need, that is having problems at home. And I didn't think I belonged there because when I'd go to like the group therapy sessions, I would hear all these kids talking about, oh yeah, I was doing drugs or I got in a gang or like, and this was the only time we were all allowed to talk to each other was in the group therapy, no matter what color shirt. And I felt out of place, man, because all I could talk about was like, I got in trouble. Well, why'd you get in trouble? I don't know, just different, I guess. Like, and I to this day I don't know why I was the way I was in school, but I can tell you right now, after the program, the day my dad came and got me, I pretty much excelled at distant drums. I didn't really graduate per se, but I was there long enough to like kind of better classmates and stuff, or and I remember my dad picking me up. My hair's all long at the time, dirty, get the haircut, and the barber almost kicked me out because, even though I took a shower and stuff, my hair still had dirt in it. We shower, we had the solar showers out
Yeah.
there and stuff. I never got used to using a restroom in a ditch. Like we had to dig holes to use restrooms and stuff. But anyway,
I can just picture it. Come in and the barber's like, "Oh, great! Look at this hippie."
yeah. Yeah. And my dad, he picks me up and we go home talking about things and they enrolled me for school for next year and I became antisocial. I went from being fun and happy and talking, like talking all the time to just kind of, I don't know, different. Like people didn't recognize me. They didn't recognize how I was, and it could have been the medicine I was on that Cross Creek put me on because they did send it to me with distant drums and stuff. They had me on Depakote, Cetera, and some other stuff, and it was just it was hard for me to transition back to a normal life.
Right.
So,
You just kind of became a recluse, basically. Just
yeah,
kept to
and
yourself.
and then that's when throughout life I sat, played video games all the time. And kind of got back into talking a little bit more because gaming and stuff, playing Call of Duty, it kind of helped me kind of get on my shell a little bit. I know it sounds weird, but it did. And then when I turned 21, I got into trucking, and I did have a girlfriend. After I got out and stuff, we were together from the time I got out till I was 18, and then had a kid at 21, and then I got into truck driving. Got divorced. I was actually divorced at 22. So we were together for 7 years, married for a year, and then divorced. Got married again, and then divorced like 3 months later. And and here I am now. Got out of truck driving after 7 years as well, and now I'm tow truck driving. And I mean, life's good. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Mentally, I don't take no meds no more. But mentally, I just it's hard to deal with a lot of things. I do lose my anger here and there. The problem with authority, I'm getting better at that. Especially like police officers, because I do work with a lot of them, doing APD, and working with the police departments on the crashes and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, after the program, it took me a long time to transition over to things. So.
And that does happen. I've heard that from a lot of survivors. It takes time. Um, are you like seeing any type of counselor or anything to help with your issues as far as your anger? Or?
No.
So some survivors think it seems to help. You know what I mean? A little bit, kind of helps them get a little more adjusted to being out of there.
I've tried. Even after Cross Creek and Distant Drums, I tried doing counseling, and I feel like it didn't help me too much.
Well, it doesn't work for everybody. So, but
no, it just, I don't know, something about counseling just
yeah.
I don't know. It's harder to talk to people because you're just paying them for them to listen to you and sure they give you advice, but majority of the time, it's just I'd rather talk to my friends, or I do a lot of social media, TikToks, YouTubes, and all that.
Yeah.
And that helps me a lot too. But I just try to deal with it, I guess.
And one thing though, what's very important is family. It's good to have that good family foundation. And you said that you're still in good terms with your parents. That's great. That helps.
Yeah.
That helps.
Definitely, and especially, my kids, I tell myself every day, I don't care how bad they are. Yeah. I will never send them to a place like that. That's one thing, there's better alternatives. There's a better way.
The thing is, a lot of these places, they're making so much money that they can afford to have, some parents, and I'm kind of guilty of this. If I'm looking for something, I'll Google it, and the first one that comes up, I think I'm going to try that. And usually a lot of parents will do that. If they're looking for a troubled teen home, they Google troubled teen home or something, and the first one that comes up, and a lot of these industries, these troubled teen boarding schools, or whatever you want to call them, they pay a lot of money to have their website on the top of a Google page. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
yeah,
it happens.
They do. And what's messed up about this whole thing is my parents told me later that all the money that was spent for Cross Creek and Distant Drums was actually my inheritance money from my grandmother that passed away. So basically, that kind of screwed me in the long haul, because when I turned 18, I was working a dead end job. It wasn't until I turned 21 that when I became a truck driver that I started kind of doing better for myself. But just work harder and be stronger with it. So
yep, that's how it works. That's how it works, man.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it for everything that happened at those. I really wish I had all my stuff with me from Cross Creek. My parents still have all that. I got pictures I drew from there because you're not allowed to do a whole lot, but like draw, read, and stuff. And I got really good at drawing. And I still got all the seminar. I got all the letters. And God, if I could read you the letters, it's just it's insane seeing it from so long ago. But
right.
But yeah, maybe that'll be something I'll share one day. So
yeah. Well, all we can do is move forward, Brad. That's all we can do.
And that's exactly what we're doing, man. Just living strong, and just anybody else out there that went through this, speak out, tell your story, because this is definitely.
If you went to any troubled teen home, this is for the people out there watching. If you've been to any teen home, and you've had, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience, it doesn't matter. My number is on top of the channel page. Send me a text. Let me know you want to come on. We'll get you on. Not a problem.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
it's that easy. Some people say, "Oh, it's too good to be." No, it's that
No,
easy.
that's what I
I'll get
did.
the text and I'll text you. It may take me a little bit if I'm doing something, but I'll text you back.
I think
So
it's great what you're doing, to be honest. And I hope I hope the best. I hope more people do talk about it. And if anybody was in Cross Creek in '08, email me or message me, find me on Facebook, whatever.
yeah,
Um, hit me up. I would love to. I would love to talk to some of the other students that were there the same time I was. So um, yeah,
so I mean they may find this video like you found it,
and
Daniel's.
that yeah. Yeah,
So
that I still can't believe I found, like, as I've heard a lot of stories about him. That was insane, seeing that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
it was a good podcast. Um,
yep.
so if anybody's interested in watching videos about towing and trucks and all this other stuff, Brad does have a YouTube channel. I'm just going to plug it for you, Brad. Why not?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's called Big Red Towing.
Hmm.
I'll leave this link on the description page if you want to check it out. Subscribe to it if you want. So help
Yep.
out the fellow
Appreciate
YouTubers,
that.
man.
Yeah,
Help
you
them
can
out.
you can see me rage at people that don't move over when I'm helping somebody on the highh. You can
Yeah,
see my anger there for sure.
yeah. I saw
And
that
it's
one video where there was a police chase.
with the U-Haul truck.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was an old one. That was back before my YouTube video. Before YouTube, like, that was like that was a long time ago. Like, before I even had as many subs as I did, man. I was coming from New Mexico to Arizona, and right at the state line, man, this U-Haul flies by me while I was in my semi, and then all of a sudden these cops just started coming. I was like, "Oh my gosh,
well,
what's going on?"
whoever it was, picked the wrong vehicle to escape in. A U-Haul.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I just
Wow.
do. Did tow truck vlogs. Now I just do. I did truck driving vlogs. Now I'm doing tow truck vlogs, and y'all can follow me on TikTok as well. So,
All right.
but yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate talking to you, and I appreciate for what you do. And this is a great thing. So, thank you so much for listening.
Yep. Thanks for coming. I'm going to go ahead and end the podcast. Stay on the line, okay?
Okay, for sure.
I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank Brad for coming on. It was a we don't get too many stories from Cross Creek, but it's man, it's like I said, it is almost an exact duplicate of some of these Baptist schools, Agape, um, Bethesda, Rebecca, all these Christian schools. It's almost an exact copy. It's really tragic. It really is.
Scary.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and some of these places have not been shut down. Hopefully, they do. So I want to thank everybody for
That's
watching. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next podcast. So everybody, I'm Jason. You take care of yourself. You take care of each other. We'll see you next time.